Welcome to a world where your money works harder than you do. Did you know that just $1,000 invested today could grow to over $10 million in 50 years? That's the incredible potential of compound interest. It's often called the eighth wonder of the world, but most people don't truly understand how it works. Here's a shocking fact: nearly 80% of Americans don't take full advantage of compound interest. They miss out on building wealth because they think it only applies to the rich or that it requires big investments. In reality, starting small can lead to big rewards if you give it enough time. In this video, we'll explore the magic behind compound interest and why time is your best friend. You'll learn how to make your money grow through simple strategies, understand the difference between compound and simple interest, and discover how to avoid common traps that hold people back. Get ready to shift your mindset and unlock the secrets to unstoppable wealth. This isn't just about numbers, it's about changing how you think about investing in your financial future. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. The magic behind the math. Why time is your best friend. Most people understand that compound interest grows your money over time, but they don't fully grasp just how powerful it is. The key lies in the word time. It's the one thing that separates successful investors from everyone else. The longer your money sits, the more it grows, not in a straight line, but exponentially. Imagine this. If you invest $1,000 today with an average return of 7% annually, after 10 years, you'll have around $2,000. But here's where it gets interesting: after 20 years, that $1,000 would grow to $4,000. And after 30 years, it becomes $8,000. It's not just doubling every 10 years, it's snowballing. Albert Einstein famously called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. He added, "He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it." That quote hits hard because it's true. Understanding how compound interest works could change your entire approach to money. It's not about how much you invest, it's about how long you let it work. One lesser-known fact? According to Fidelity, investors who left their accounts untouched during the 2008 financial crisis outperformed those who pulled their money out. By doing nothing, they reaped the rewards of compound interest working in the background. The takeaway here is simple: the earlier you start, the more time you give your money to grow. You don't need to make huge investments. Even small amounts, given enough time, can turn into something big. The sooner you start investing, the more time you have to let compound interest work its magic. Chapter 2. Compound versus simple interest. The shocking difference over time. Many people make the mistake of thinking that all interest works the same. It doesn't. There's a massive difference between simple interest and compound interest, and that difference becomes more apparent over time. Let's break it down in the simplest way possible. Simple interest is calculated on the original amount of money you invest. Let's say you invest $1,000 at a 5% simple interest rate. After 1 year, you earn $50. After 2 years, you earn another $50, bringing your total to $1,100. Not bad, right? But compound interest takes it a step further. With compound interest, you earn interest on the original amount plus the interest you've already earned. Using the same example, $1,000 at 5% interest. After 1 year, you'll still have $1,050. But in the second year, you're not just earning interest on the original $1,000, you're earning interest on $1,050. By year 2, you have $1,102.50. After 10 years, you're looking at $1,628.89. It's a small difference at first, but over time, the gap between compound and simple interest widens significantly. A study by NerdWallet showed that if you invest $10,000 at a 6% compound interest rate, after 30 years, it would grow to $57,434. With simple interest, you'd only have $28,000. That's almost double the money, just by letting compound interest do its thing. The secret to building wealth through compound interest is patience. Time does the heavy lifting. You don't need to chase risky investments or constantly buy and sell stocks. The difference between compound and simple interest shows how much more you can earn just by letting your money grow uninterrupted. If you're finding this information helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Join us on this journey to financial literacy and discover more insights that can change your investing game. Chapter 3. The Rule of 72. Your shortcut to doubling your money. The Rule of 72 is one of the simplest but most powerful tools in investing. It's a quick way to figure out how long it'll take for your money to double with compound interest. You divide 72 by your expected annual return, and the result is the number of years it'll take for your investment to double. Let's say you expect a 6% return. 72 divided by 6 is 12. That means it'll take roughly 12 years for your money to double at that rate. This rule gives you a clear sense of how compound interest works over time, without having to do complicated math. This little trick might seem like a novelty, but it's based on real-world returns. Historically, the stock market has returned an average of 7–8% per year over the long term. Using the Rule of 72, that means your investments could double every 9 to 10 years, assuming you leave them alone and let compounding do the work. The Rule of 72 is useful because it's not just for figuring out how fast you'll grow your money, it can also help you set realistic goals. If you're 30 and want to double your investments by age 40, you now know exactly what kind of return to aim for. It's a quick way to check if your investment strategy is on track. But remember, the key ingredient here is time. Too many people look for shortcuts or try to time the market. They get distracted by day-to-day movements and miss the big picture. According to a study by J.P. Morgan, missing just the 10 best days in the stock market over the last 20 years could cut your overall returns in half. The Rule of 72 reminds you that staying in the game is more important than getting in at the perfect moment. If you're enjoying this content, please subscribe to stay updated with more financial tips and strategies that can help you grow your wealth. Chapter 4. Mindset Shift. Stop chasing returns. Start chasing time. A big mistake people make when investing is chasing high returns. It's tempting to look for quick wins, but the truth is, time is more valuable than any hot stock tip. The real power of compound interest lies in patience, not in picking the perfect investment. You don't need to be a market genius to build wealth. Warren Buffett said it best, the stock market is designed to transfer money from the active to the patient. It's not about finding the best investment strategy, it's about sticking with it for the long haul. The more time your money has to grow, the less risky your investment becomes. One fascinating statistic from a study by Vanguard shows that 90% of the variation in investment returns comes from asset allocation, not from trying to pick individual stocks. So, instead of focusing on the latest stock tip, a better strategy is to focus on staying in the market long enough to let compound interest do its job. Most people get it wrong because they're impatient. They try to chase high returns with risky investments. But when you're always looking for that next big win, you miss out on the consistent, reliable growth that compound interest provides. It's like running a marathon, slow and steady wins every time. A strategy worth considering is dollar cost averaging. This means regularly investing a fixed amount of money, regardless of market conditions. Over time, you'll buy more shares when prices are low and fewer shares when prices are high, which helps reduce the risk of market timing. More importantly, it keeps you invested for the long term. According to the S&P 500, the average annual return over the past 90 years has been around 9.8%. That's not flashy, but if you stay invested and let compound interest work, those steady returns add up. Time, not returns, is your greatest ally in building wealth. Chapter 5. The Snowball Effect. How to create unstoppable wealth. Imagine pushing a small snowball down a hill. At first, it's tiny, but as it rolls, it picks up more snow, growing larger and faster. This is exactly how compound interest works. Over time, your wealth grows exponentially, creating what can feel like unstoppable momentum. The snowball effect is particularly powerful because of what's called exponential growth. The longer you let your money grow, the faster it compounds. Take this real-world example. If you invest $5,000 per year at a 7% return, after 10 years, you'd have about $69,000. After 20 years, that grows to $228,000. But after 30 years? It's over $566,000. It's not just adding money each year, it's the interest on top of interest that creates this incredible growth. The key to the snowball effect is reinvesting your returns. Instead of cashing out your earnings, you put them back into your investments, which generates even more growth. This is how small investments can turn into large sums over time. Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's business partner, once said, "The first rule of compounding is to never interrupt it unnecessarily." Every time you pull money out of your investments, you stop the snowball effect in its tracks. Keep your investments intact, and let them roll down that hill undisturbed. Another often overlooked strategy is to reinvest dividends. Companies pay dividends as a way to distribute profits to shareholders. Instead of taking that cash, reinvesting it allows you to buy more shares, which compounds your returns even further. According to a study by Hartford Funds, 84% of the S&P 500's total return from 1960 to 2022 came from reinvested dividends. It's a strategy that fuels the snowball. The snowball effect works best when you start early, reinvest your returns, and stay consistent. Even small investments can grow into a massive financial windfall if you give them enough time to compound. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe and join our community of savvy investors. Together, we can unlock the secrets to financial success and build a brighter financial future.